Yeah. Could you speak more about that, the music project that you're part of?
Yeah, so basically in this uni-verse, the one song that we basically in the last about 6 months, I realized last December, November timeframe, I was very much in the people need to wake up, and I was on the
Mm.
front lines as a cashier, and so I was really in the front of all of what was going on, calling myself a retraining brigade member. Like
Mm.
I was just anyway, so all of that was going on, and I was trying to wake people up and just give them information. And what I realized and discovered, as we kind of talked about, is that the ugly truth does not actually compel people to digest it unless they have a better solution to be able to plug into from there. So it doesn't
Mm.
really help to wake people up to the ugliness unless we have created something beautiful that they can buy into and plug their energy into instead. And
Yeah.
so basically, Jared Wade is an amazing man that is out of the States that had been following my work for quite some time, and he'd come onto my lives. So I got to see his familiarity in terms of showing up and supporting what I was working on, and I really appreciated that. And we were talking one day, and he said, Laura, I'd love for you to get your message out to more people, and I'd love to help you with that. And I was hosting summits at the time because I was trying to say warriors need to be able to recognize one another. And so we need to be able to just get warriors on the screen so that we can see one another and know who the players on the field are.
Mm.
And so basically we met, and then he said, well, I'll gather the people if you'll show up and if you'll host the meeting. And I can host a meeting no problem now with all of the meetings that I've facilitated. So it was like, sure, that's beautiful. I don't have to do any work. I don't have to promote it. I just show up. I host the meeting. I get to meet new people. This sounds amazing. So we hosted the first one, and it was amazing. The people that showed up, and Luna Keller is actually the one who, in that first meeting, I was kind of trying to make sure that everybody on the call got it, like what was going on in the agendas, and the fear, the piece of me that really needed them to get it came out. And Luna's roundabout way of being able to say, okay, yes, but like we need to find a better way to present that, because if we bring in the fear, then it's just going to bring the vibe down. And it was so powerful because it was really humbling. It was embarrassing, but very real. And there were all of the experiences that I had to go through in order to say, okay, I really want people to be able to receive the messages that I'm putting out. And so I need to make sure that I am not putting fear into my messaging, and I'm
Mm.
shifting the frame. And so that was the first meeting in December. End of December, we had that first meeting, just gathering people. And then we ended up saying, okay, well, like amazing people showed up. So let's do this again in 2 weeks and let's see how it goes. And so 2 weeks later, amazing people showed up again. And it was like, oh, well, in order for amazing people to continue to show up, we need to have something for them to be able to work towards. So like, how hard would it be to put together an album? I said to Jared, and he's just like, oh, well, we could do that. And so he's got Mad Hatter's Music, which is he's like a producer, and he's got him and his brother have a band. And so that was how it started. Jared reached out to amazing artists that he felt aligned to, and I hosted the meetings every 2 weeks. And so I said, well, we've got amazing people. Now we're going to do this album. Like, how many songs are we going to do, and when are we going to have it due for? And so I said, okay, well, let's do it April 2nd, because we started this in December. So 4 months is enough time to give people time to create a song and get it in. And so Jared kept inviting people and finding people on social media, artists that were interested. And so basically we worked towards it. And then April 2nd, the deadline came, and we had more than 22 submissions from artists around the world. And I'm on there in a collaboration with a woman that's out of Perry Sound area, actually. named Elise Exler, who she uses light language and did an activation. And Eric Vasquez, he had submitted music that he had recorded at 332 hertz instead of the regular 440, because that's healing compared to the other, which is destructive, which is the mainstream is destructive naturally, because in the 30s there was a closed door meeting to weaponize music. That most people are not necessarily overtly familiar with until you're familiar or aware, and then you can look up and just see how things have not been how they seemed for a long time. And so basically all of that came and happened, and so we're just in the final stages. He's getting a playlist put out. We've got album22.com will be where all of the music is housed. And so I'm doing interviews with each of the artists. We're going to have some live, like online Zoom meetings with showing off the artists, and do some live performance, have some conversation so fans can come on and get to know all of the artists that are involved. And it's people from, like, we've got Australians, we've got Canadians, Americans, Europeans, Englishmen, like 22 artists from around the world are part of this amazing project that started as an idea. And how easy would it be? Like, really?
Do you think, Laura, you're going to be doing part 2?
Yes, we're going to actually do a part 2, which will be due in September. And it's going to actually be, Papa's coming out. Say hello to everybody, Papa.
Hello. How are you today, sir?
A man of few words. Yes, if you want to turn it off, please. He's coming out to check the. We've got some flowers that are. Oh, he's going for the watering.
What a beautiful.
Yeah. Well, it's even gonna be more beautiful because I've just planted some good stuff.
Do what?
Yeah.
I said we're planting some stuff.
Hi, how are you today?
Great. How are
Good. How are you?
Keep at it.
All right.
You too.
A man of few words, but I love it. Yeah, he's probably coming out to see how long I'm going to be until food time too. So, thank you, Papa. Okay, sweet. So yeah, basically that was the second project is going to be with the children. So doing inner child healing work. So
Beautiful.
yeah, so once we're going to have our next meeting in 2 weeks and 2 Tuesdays. Not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after will be the next meeting. And then we're going to be promoting more for the first album, but then also we can start planning for the second. So I'll have more details at the beginning of August.
Shoot, I think my boyfriend, my fiance, and I missed out on a wonderful opportunity for getting onto your platform there. My fiance is a songwriter, folk music really, but love songs. He's written me over 65 love poems and 8 love songs. And recently, just this past week, he practiced 2, and he came to my place, and he just killed them. Oh my God, he just tore up the rug. And I just love it because I sing backup, right? The harmonies, and one's called We Are Wolves. She's got it going on, and the other one was I can't remember right now. Anyway, he plays guitar. He's a fair singer, but he's an excellent composer. And we've recorded one video that we actually co-wrote together. It's called Ledges and Perches on YouTube. It talks about our relationship, and I'm really heavily into animal totems, spirit totems, and my dad came up in that song big time as blackbirds, crows, magpies, and ravens. And so that's in the song. And anyway, you can check it out. It's called Ledges and Perches. But we co-wrote that. He did the music and I did the lyrics, and we get together quite often, and we just he does riffs, and yeah, we record it, and then we put it together, because I was planning on making an album. Actually, I had it all designed out and everything. It was called Clarity. I've done about 8 songs with my actual band instructor from high school, who is like a top musician in this great, in the Essex County. And he comes from a very musical family. He plays every instrument. He's a orchestral conductor, and he's an exquisite arranger, and I love him, and vocal coach. So we've been working together for about 6 years now, and we've recorded quite a few things, and just personal projects. But I thought, I'm gonna gather these and put them into an album format as well. But I would love Rob's stuff. Are at least 2 or 3 songs are hits. For sure, are hits. I could hear them on the radio, no problem. So we're still looking for a platform for that. So if you want to get that out to your friend at what did you call it? Magical Music or
Mad Hatter's Music.
Mad
Mad
Hatter?
Hatters.
Yes,
Awesome.
you can tell him to call me.
Yeah, definitely talk to Jared, and then we can also make sure that you're fully in the know about the next project, and
Yeah, and if you like his music, yeah.
and you want to do a song about healing the child within and calling back soul fragments, like that's kind of, we're going to be making that kind of the focus, because obviously if we're thinking about what's going on from a microcosm macrocosm perspective, all of the inner work that feels so inconsequential or so expensive to do now, that because of the cost to our ego and all of the deaths that go with transformation, even though that process feels like it's just difficult, and we're so uncertain, and we're so unsure of the value that we offer, because when we're in the pits of hell of our own understanding who we are, we're getting incinerated in order for us to be reborn. And so it's just like, take as long as you take, because you can't rush that process. Trevor Hall has an amazing song, if you guys haven't heard it, called You Can't Rush Your Healing. Seriously, you can't rush your healing. It's just it's just.
Is he Canadian?
No, he's American, but listen to that song, and that is an amazing song to be able to listen to. But just literally, we can't rush that healing. But microcosm, macrocosm, if we actually are doing the inner work, we're actually healing the whole.
Sure. I think it's interesting how many people are musicians or appreciate music, to be on the same call, and we didn't know that was really a commonality until just now, and I think that's a beautiful commonality. Is Mange a musician or appreciator?
I don't know how she fits, but what I know is that we all are fitting into this, and it's just like we're all finding our place. And so, one thing that I just wanted to say as we kind of just wrap up for today is that when we're transforming, because we're doing the inner work, we don't feel good enough. We don't feel ready. We don't feel like we have got it together enough to be able to share it, because we genuinely care. And we genuinely want to deliver the experience that we're promising. And so I just want to say, from my own experience of being a coach for 10 years and for judging myself as not good enough for so many of those, to have really held back for all of this time and kind of sprinkled magic here and there, but sprinkling it better when I was not making anything or very little, simply because I was finally able to commit to getting out and in with people so that I could just do what I do. It's like through all of that process, I was so hard on myself and I took things so personally. And in the end, it's like, now I see how all of those experiences prepared me for this moment to do what's coming. And so I say that if you're struggling at any point where you are in the crock pot that seems like it's taking too long, just to understand the law of gestation, the law of gender says there is a harvesting time. Like everything has its season. It's just like every seed has its own gestation frame, time period. And it's like your time period is different from my time frame. And so we just have to really be graceful with ourselves through that process, because our time frame and the divine time frame generally are not the same timeline. Like ours is generally a lot faster, but like the divine know what we need, and we're never given more than we can handle if we trust ourselves through that process. So that's kind of my final message for today. I would love each of you to offer something to one another and to those who listen back to this blessed replay.
May I just make reference to what I just put in the chat, 24-hour worldwide paint jam. I'm doing that tomorrow, Friday to Saturday, with Whitney Freya, who has been my artistic mentor and coach for the last 6 years. I'm a creatively fit coach with her mentoring, with her style, and it's very much process painting instead of coming out with a pretty picture, you know. So I mean, sometimes they're pretty pictures at the end too, but there's like, I just am working on day 14 of her Tara lesson of 22. So there's 22 layers to this painting, and that's my second Tara. But she has a following. She's from, she lives in Oregon. I think she's from Chicago originally. She had no art training whatsoever. She opened up an art center in the middle of Nashville, I believe. It was a crack house, and she changed it over and changed the whole funkiness of the whole area. And she has probably, I don't know, I'm going to say 1,000 followers. Well, no, probably more than that, probably millions of followers, but I'm going to say maybe 600 coaches that she's trained over the course of these years. And I just love her to pieces. She's a real free spirit. I really encourage you to even just get on. It's for free. Just get on to that website and look for the 24-hour coaching jam and paint jam. Sorry. And she's so much fun, and she'll just raise your spirit. You just got, even if you don't paint, just listen to her and listen to the dynamic conversations that are going to go on, because we're doing it for 24 hours. So Angela in New Zealand's going to be doing, and if you want to pay $33, that's what I did. My friends are the inspiration, and they're the coaches, and I get 9 lessons for $33. Like, that's freaking unheard of. But I'll be painting for the next 24 hours straight, and I hope I have enough canvases. But that's one thing I want to leave you with is Whitney Freya. Any of her courses are worthwhile. So spiritual, so in depth, so beautiful to heal any kind of trauma, heal anything. I mean, art is therapy. Art is cathartic. So that's Whitney Freya. But the other thing I was going to bring to the table today that we haven't talked about yet was a book that actually she put in her references, is The Return of the Bird Tribes. Ken Carey, Return of the Bird Tribes. It's a little slow in the beginning, but my God, is it ever pertinent to our experience right now. And there's a couple of chapters in there, especially the one that I just read to my fiance last night. Ken Carey makes suggestions from the bird tribes. It talks about just, consciousness, human consciousness, and the Mayan calendar, and what that brought to the table, and how we're moving through this turmoil, like very much like the hero's journey, the 12 steps of the hero's journey. And are we answering the call? It's all about this Return of the Bird Tribes. I just couldn't believe how pertinent it was. And because I was a teacher for 26 years, I know that I can lull people to sleep, or I can, because my fiance falls asleep every time I read to him. It's so relaxing. We read to one another all the time, Leonardo da Vinci books and just a whole bunch of things. So anyway, he does fall asleep, and that could be all that you need, is my voice lulling you to sleep. However, at the same time, if you really do listen to it, it could help you as much as it's helping me get through this turbulent time. It's so pertinent to what we're going through. And I mean, just the fact that the tribes came together, the native tribes, it's all indigenous based, and the native tribes got together and said nothing to one another for 3 days. I would love to see everybody in the world do that at some kind of convention or whatever, and just, get together and read each other's energy for 3 days. Don't say a word.
Silent retreat worldwide.
And then start solving the problem. But I really think that they've got something there because these are Iroquois and Huron and Cree and Sioux, and they're all coming from different, walks of life. And then when they get together and just commune quietly for 3 days, it's eye-opening. I believe I've done silent art days, whole day of complete silence, and everybody's working on their own projects, and you just grow. You really feel into yourself, and it's a beautiful experience. It really is. So I just love this kind of thing. I love the native influence. I think what our whole globe has poo-pooed indigenous ways of being away, and we need to return to Pachamama, I tell you, and the indigenous ways, because when we harm ourselves, we harm Pachamama. When we harm Pachamama, we harm ourselves. And
Yeah.
that's, I guess, what I'd like to end with is just just the grace of Mother Earth holding us and keeping us well is just a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
I think that's perfect to end with.
Be graceful with yourself, all is well. And also, I yawned when you were speaking about the equinox, and I just offer it as a point to consider when you're having conversation with someone and you or they yawn. It might not actually be because of tiredness or boredom, but can also be where you're making space. So space is literally being made within the energy vessel of you to receive a bigger idea or a bigger download, or making space in some way. So I just share that because I yawned, and I'm not tired, and it was the first time that I yawned in this meeting. And so I just bring it up because I wasn't bored and I was not tired. I feel like I was making space, and so just wanted to offer that little teaching to be aware of, and then see how it fits or sits for you.
Neat.
All
Thank
right.
you for that. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely.
Wisdom.
Yeah, well, I've plugged into a lot, and I've always resonated with truth, and I've always just only been after truth, regardless of the box that truth showed up in. So
Me too.
I have just collected truth as I've found it, and then not kept the box per se, but kept the treasure. So yeah, I think the ones that come to these meetings are like us, that do just extract the truth from what we find,
Lovely.
and then are really called to put those truths together in the ultimate round table. So
because we can connect our own dots too. We have to create our own reality.